Hi, kids. As we take a look here for our embedded assessment that we are about to get started on, or at least work on it down the road, but start talking about it in the early going here. This particular embedded assessment is what we call a narrative essay. A little bit different than what we kind of have done in the past. A narrative essay, put quite simply, is a story. And what you're going to be doing in a nutshell is you are going to be writing your own narrative essay, so writing your own story that follows something called the hero's journey archetype. And I'll talk about that in just a moment. Now, let's go ahead and kind of take a look at it and sort of figure out, okay, what is it exactly that we're doing here? Okay, so just hit present. So as we start to take a look at our embedded assessment and go through what it is that we're going to do, taking a look at things like the show The Mandalorian, which is what this photo is from. Yeah, as we get it going, perfect example of a narrative story. Now, this comes straight out of our Springboard book. This is basically our main task and what needs to get done. Think about all the heroes that you have encountered in fiction and in real life. So the picture of the Mandalorian there would be an example of fiction, real life hero, somebody like Dr. Martin Luther King or somebody like that. What type of hero appeals to you? Write and create an illustrated narrative about an original hero. Use the hero's journey archetype to develop and structure your ideas. Orally present your narrative to classmates. Okay, so let's kind of, there's a lot of vocabulary in there. Let's kind of break it down and try and figure out what it is that we're doing. Okay, so the first thing, our main task, as you see, as we're highlighted in purple there, is we are going to write an illustrated narrative, meaning that not only is it going to be a written story, but there are going to be pictures in it as well. And we'll get into exactly, okay, what does that mean? Illustrating and pictures and stuff that, we'll make that more clear as we go. So that's our main task, is write an illustrated narrative. Okay, now what are we going to do? How are we going to take care of that? Okay, so highlighted in green are the verbs in that particular task that we're doing. And as you can see, they are write, create, use, and present. Those are the things that we are going to do in our completion of this task of writing an illustrated narrative. Okay. Now, what's going to go into that? How are we going to accomplish that? Now, as we take a look at it, things that are going to happen in this highlighted in red, under the right bubble, you're going to write a narrative, right? Already explained, a narrative is basically a story. Okay, now moving over to the right, how are you going to create? You're going to do illustrations, and like I said, we're going to get into that a little bit more deeply in the future. So let's kind of hold off on an explanation of that for right now. Okay, what are you going to use in order to do it? You're going to use the hero's journey archetype, which is something we're going to cover very extensively in class over the next couple of weeks. Basically, to give it to you most simply, is the hero's journey archetype. An archetype is simply a pattern. It's a pattern that stories about heroes have followed for thousands of years. You go back to Greek mythology, you go back to stories in the Bible, even. You go back to stories from the Middle Ages, the legend of King Arthur and pulling the sword out of the stone and everything from the Middle Ages, all the way up to modern day, where you talk about movies that we all go and see, whether you're going to see Marvel movies or Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, as well as any other sort of kind of movie that has a hero that has to overcome challenges in order to succeed. They all follow certain steps, and we're going to get into, okay, what are those steps? We're going to talk about those over the next week, and it really, you'll be surprised. They all tend to follow the same pattern, and you can kind of just plug in what your hero does and what your hero has to overcome, and then you can sort of figure out your story from there. So that's what we're going to do when we talk about the hero's journey archetype. And it's okay if that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to you right now. Just understand that it's a pattern that most stories about some sort of hero or protagonist, they pretty much follow this pattern, and you're going to learn that pattern, and you're going to create your own with that. Okay, it's going to be, and moving over to the right there from Hero's Journey Archetype, it's going to be original ideas. This is going to be your own hero. Okay, we're not going to be talking about Harry Potter. We're not going to be talking about Black Panther or Captain America or Iron Man, or Luke Skywalker. Those are all heroes that have already been developed. You're going to develop your own hero. You may end up borrowing certain qualities, but it's going to be your own story that you're going to talk about. And then, yes, what you're going to be doing is you are going to present your story, or at least a summary of your story, in class. Okay, I know that most students are not a huge fan of presenting in class. I get that. However, it is a valuable skill that you're going to need to do, and I promise you, it's not going to be anything that is really going to be terribly challenging or embarrassing. So, don't let that worry you. If you're nervous about that, you're not alone. Everybody struggles with the idea of public speaking. So that's why we're doing it, is so that you can get a little bit better at it and get a little bit more confident. And I'm sure that you'll be happy when it's all over. You're just like all the other kids that have ever existed, myself included. And once it gets done, then you'll be able to kind of be able to say that you did it. So we're going to be presenting in class. So that's kind of just a very brief unpacking of our embedded assessment. We've got Miles Morales here, who is the current Spider-Man. So another example of a story that follows the hero's journey archetype, and just wishing you good luck on your journey that you are about to take. All right. Okay.